Welcome to On the Couch, the podcast where real conversations meet real change. Pull up a seat, get comfortable, and join us as we dive deep into the conversations that matter most to Black and Brown communities. Hosted by Dr. Diamond and an incredible lineup of co-hosts, On the Couch brings you raw, insightful, and empowering discussions, from mental health and wellness to entrepreneurship, life insurance, healthcare, and everything in between. Our mission is simple: to educate, uplift, and create space for conversations that need to be heard. Whether you're here for practical advice, motivation, or just a dose of inspiration, you've come to the right place. So sit back, relax, and let's talk about the things that shape our lives, our futures, and our communities. This is On the Couch, where we keep it real, keep it relevant, and keep it moving. Let's get started.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on the couch. I'm Dr. Diamond, along with my co-hosts. You'll see them shortly in a moment. Today, what we're going to be talking about is very important. It's about Women's History Month, and I'm going to present some fun facts today and have a discussion with some of my co-hosts that are waiting in the wings. I have Anika waiting on in the wings, and then, of course, we have the others that are joining us eventually. So as we go along and talk about the importance of Women's History Month, we get to highlight some women that have done some wonderful things for the Black and Brown and Native American community. So before I get started, I'm just going to go ahead and bring Anika in. And we haven't seen her for a minute, because she's been a busy lady. Hey, Anika, how are you?
Hi, how are you, Dr. Diamond?
I am doing well. Thank you for joining us today, because I know that you're a busy woman. Kind of highlight what you've been doing, for these last few months or so, because, you've been on and then you got other stuff going on. I want our listeners to hear what you have been doing.
I do custom gifts, and events. So I've been very busy with my custom gifts and doing events. I am preparing for retirement. I'm excited about that. Getting ready and preparing myself for the next course of action for my life.
Yes.
Yeah, so I've been very busy. And
Good.
Yeah.
That's awesome, and that's being busy, but in a positive way.
Yes.
You're busy doing things that you love doing, even if it's a hobby, you still love doing it, and that's the most important part. So that's awesome. And again, I wish you all the well in your retirement, because you have earned it. I think people don't know how much we put into it. No one really prepares us, and I'm talking about family members. We see them go to work, come back, but no one prepares us for how much of our life we're working and doing and paying bills and trying to survive.
That's right.
It's a lot of work, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And everything's going up. Everything is going up. And I know everybody, is feeling it. Everybody is feeling it.
Yeah, that's the thing. We are feeling it, and it's it's so impactful, because you don't know where your next dollar's coming from. Speaking of that, let's highlight for a minute these TSA workers who are working without a paycheck for at least 30 days. And we were fortunate when my husband and I came back off of our trip. We kind of moved through the line, but we noticed that it was really, the line was long where we were, and we were in Miami to fly back here to New Jersey, and we noticed that the line was very long. So we was like, oh my goodness, we're used to TSA, you boom, 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 right through.
Right.
No, it was a line, and it just seemed like everyone was in the line, and then they'll just say, this is TSA, you go, they'll give you a little, tag or whatever, and then you go through. But you're still in the line. You're still waiting. The purpose of the TSA or even the global entry is to move quicker.
Right. And I don't even know if that even helps now.
Yeah. I don't think it does. I don't
It's
think it
only going to
does.
get worse. It's actually going to get worse before it gets better.
That's the thing. So what we can tell you all, those of you that are listening to us today, and then when you come back and hear the replay, just prepare. We are in a worse state than we probably have ever been. At least we're living through it through our time. There are people that are older than us that have lived through a lot of similar or maybe even worse times.
Right.
But we managed to make it through. So
Right.
our goal is to also get through this as much as we can. It comes to the point that maybe community, connection, it becomes important at this point, because you don't know who has enough, even our seniors, because they are there, and they exist, and they're going to need help after a while, because the way things are set up, this man don't care about anybody or anything. It's, to me, it's what is in his pockets and what is in his family pockets and the people that work with him. And it's
Right.
unfortunate, because we're all going to suffer.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we are. And it's sad. It's very sad. But,
Mhm.
we're going to shift gears here a little bit, because, again, we're going to be talking about today, Women History Month. So Women History Month, if for all those that don't know, we're going to highlight what that is, but we're also going to talk about women that we are aware of, or at least discuss them in this on this platform today, just highlighting the things that we do. But since it's Women History Month, I like to also say to you, Anika, you're a highlight as well. You're a woman in the community working. You're an author, and you're doing so many other fabulous things. So, I will be remiss not to even highlight you as well, because you are a part of history, because you're a writer, you're an author. You shared your story, you
Thank
know?
you. Hmm.
Yes. And
Thank
then for myself, I think I work very hard to be the woman that I am. We have people around us that are in our families, other people in the community that shape us. Coming from, my grandmother and my grandfather had 10 children, and my mom only had my brother and I. And again, she passed away very early in life, like 28 years old. So I was like 12 and my brother was 10. But I always remember my grandmother saying, get your education. It's
Right.
very important that you do that. And I did that. My aunt challenged me, and she said, when you go to school, I have a master's degree, so that means you have to get a PhD, right? But I originally was going to go and become a medical doctor.
Wow.
But in the end, I am a doctor. And for all those that don't know the differences between a medical doctor and a PhD doctor, the difference is I don't write a script, but I can if I go back to school and do that part. And PhD doctors were actually first. We were the researchers. We were the ones who will tell you, the medical doctors, what to do, because you need research for things to happen. So medical doctors made the term doctor more popular. So people that hold a PhD like myself, people believe that we're not doctors, but we are. We go through the 12 years of school just like them.
Right.
I have a primary subject that I focus on, which is behavioral sciences.
Yes.
So again, very impactful. So, I kind of hear all of these different comments back and forth. Am I a doctor or not? What kind of doctor is she? I am a doctor. That's a different type of doctor, but I am one.
Right.
I am respected in the community and amongst other doctors. And that's the thing, again, the assumption is, well, what do you mean? Well, I want to break it down for people today. And also, I've given back a lot to my community. I have been a part of the NAACP for years. I was the secretary for 7 years, the membership chair for 7 years. I am also part of an organization that, we give back. That is part of our goal. That's what we do. This podcast is what I do as well. I have been an also contributing writer for the Own It magazine. So, I've done a lot in my time of being here in my 53 years, but you start later on in life when you mature, when you get about 30
Right.
something, that's when you find yourself. So,
Mhm.
throughout those years, I have been in school and working and doing things and growing and shaping as a person. So, again, highlighting ourselves is also important because we have made some contributions
Right.
in this world, and we're going to keep doing it until we are no longer here. So I encourage everyone, women, Black women, Hispanic women, Native American women, even white women, celebrate yourself,
Right.
because if you have contributed something to this world, celebrate yourself. You do not have to be a celebrity to just be honored. You can
Right.
be honored in your local community, or just honor yourself for the things that you have done to give back
Right.
without no type of, I have to get something back because I put something out,
Right.
so I just want to make sure that we highlight ourselves today before we begin to talk about the women that we're going to be talking about today. Okay, so again, Women History Month. So we're going to take a moment and celebrate the brilliance, the labor, and the legacy of women that have shaped our world, often without recognition or applause and without rest. This is true. These women that I am going to talk about, we kind of know them, but we're going to have some fun facts to know them. And Anika, feel free to jump in, because you're going to know some of these women as well, like I do. And then others, we're probably going to learn about them out today that we
Right.
never knew before. So let's talk about Women History Month, how this came to be. So Women History Month is more than a date on the calendar. It's a reminder of the women who built, nurtured, resisted, created, and transformed. The women who held families and movements together, the women who dreamed beyond the limits placed on them, and the women who made a way even when there were no way to make it. So they figured out ways to do this. So there are going to be some women again. I'm going to bring Toya in. Hey, Toya, how are you?
Hi, Toya.
Hello, everyone. Child, I just went to a funeral, but had to be here with my sisters because I'm a week out from ACL surgery, and I think I pushed myself, and I left
Oh,
my pills at home, so I'm sitting here in the vehicle. But I wanted to
oh,
see you guys, because this is the real, as you say on the couch, we speak about real things, and this is what we do. We press. Women, we
yes,
press. I
Mhm.
got to hear my
yes, you
daddy
do.
saying he came in from Richmond, Virginia, and it's just one of my cousins pretty much extended, but that's how my brother was born. When you have families, and then here one of the patriarchs passed, so now my dad came in, and this is what
Mm,
people do, and unfortunately it usually comes in a sad occasion. So but today we are celebrating Women's History Month on this show,
yes,
just thinking about all the women who have persevered of color. And as you know, we had the Butterfly Room. We're every other Friday at 8. And this is a movement, as we stated. And,
yeah.
if someone is going to elevate, and there's different things, but we have to bet on ourselves. And I think that we
Mm-hmm.
are formative. And as I actually heal, and as we talk about this 5 stages of grief, and here as women, we persevere through so much. And look at me, look at you, look at Anika, who's going to be retiring soon. I got my invite. I
Yes.
will be there, and I'm a Leo baby
Yes.
as Dr. Diamond. So we gonna chill. We're gonna have
Yes.
That's
fun, because by then my leg will be good. 'Cause look at my leg, y'all. Look at my leg. You see my leg?
look.
Wow.
Yes. Still
Wow.
trooper though.
Yes, you are. And my condolences too, Toya.
Thank
Yes,
you.
me too.
My
Yes.
brother's not here, and I'm here with my niece, and this is what I'm explaining to her about family.
Right.
We need to get better with that, instead of it being a bad occasion, a sad occasion, as we say. No, we're
Right.
celebrating life. When
Right.
someone lives over the age of 50, I had lost my grandparents, so my son doesn't have, but this is an extension. These are people that my son was able to be around to get the
Yeah.
history. So that's why we mentor Dr. Diamond, right? Anika, I know you ready to
Yes.
speak. So I know I have to get you on my show for
Yes.
survivors. But right now, I'm waiting till your chapter closes, right? Because that means we're
Mm-hmm.
going to have a better story. of
Oh,
how
yes,
you
I
made
am.
it win.
Yes.
And your book
Mhm.
is right next on my nightstand because I look at that. And
Thank
we
you.
gonna talk. So we
Yes.
coming here. We coming
Yes.
in 2026.
Yes.
So
This
I
is
got
the
my
Yes,
year.
planning.
This
My
is
you
the
know how my
year.
head goes, but now as women, we're gonna be planning a live event. So be out there
Right.
because we're creating
Yeah.
a collaborative, and I'm putting it out there. It's
Yes.
coming.
Yes.
All of
Yes.
us, we're coming together in this
Yes.
movement.
right.
We ain't gonna talk about it. We be about it, as y'all know.
Yes. Ooh, I feel I
That's
receive it.
right. That's
Amen.
right.
Amen.
We are
Yes.
going to be about it. Toya, you put that on us. So, hey,
Yes.
we just got to, and
Mhm.
it's a challenge, it's a challenge,
That's
but
also that's amazing. Mm.
it is amazing and it's possible.
I
I
already
just
saw the space
encourage,
already. I saw the space.
you
I
saw
stopped
the
talking.
space?
I already got it because my friend worked for this hotel chain. So I'm not talking about it, but I'm letting the listeners know we are coming. We're
Yes.
Right.
coming. I see, just working in the field for so long. And Dr. Diamond, you can attest to this. We have people
Yes.
popping up. My pastor speaks about payments. Social media once, and I'm looking at the numbers. I'm adding up. That don't add up. So I said, you know what? You're trying to control. If people think about the currency, Netflix, watching a movie, there was no commercials because people spoke up. Now everybody's coming to commercials on Netflix, Disney Plus, wherever it is.
Right.
Don't you know that we are in charge? I'm a visual person. We are in charge of our currency. Because the
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
cable, they would try to monopolize it, but now you have streaming services, you don't need them anymore.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So just think about it. I'm just gonna plug that little because it was on my spirit right now. We can
Well,
control
I
our
thank you for
currency.
plugging that. I do.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
as I was stating in our opening onto the show today, we too can honor ourselves because we're part of history as Black women.
Mm-hmm.
And we have done things in our community, and you kind of led right into it when you came on. So, that's good. And we highlight you,
Mhm.
Toya, for all the things that you have done, all the contributions, the Butterfly Room, and creating that, which is another platform to discuss us, because a lot of the times we're not discussed as we should. So I'm glad that you taken on that task and you said, hey, it's my turn, and you stepped up and you did what you had to do. So I honor you in this Women Histories Month. I know we only got a few more weeks in it, but I wanted to let you know that you are honored. Okay.
Thank you
um
so much,
you're
Dr.
welcome.
Diamond, because
You
you
are
were the
quite
one that took
welcome.
the band-aid off. And then
Mm,
Anika came on. It was all predestined. I said
Yes.
to
yeah.
myself, this surgery, number 6, and I'm gonna say it publicly, I had to wear a brace for 3 months because my surgery was denied.
Hmm.
And my doctor is an innovator. Dr. Todd Ryan, part of Edison Metuchen pediatric orthopedic group EMOG. And he gave me life, not just a new normal. And as we say, new normal. My thing here is to be groundbreaking and let him know that's not what it is. And I said, I am a vessel. So after my surgery, my uvula was, remember I said the last time was hooking in and I wasn't right, but I couldn't breathe one night. And when I tell you I had to reach out, I said, if I don't wake up, these are my last words. I prayed, I text someone, I left someone a voice message. And because I couldn't go back to the emergency room, I had everything that I was supposed to have, the steroid, but I warned the guy. I said, this is what it is, but I can't do anything because you signed the little papers. But now my uvula has changed. And I'm thinking to myself, because before when it happened in 2014, I was intubated when I got my partial hysterectomy. My voice changed. I
Hmm.
said, God, you are amazing. I'm looking at my uvula. I'm looking at it. It looked like it looked before. So I said, well, Lord, what are you doing? Are you restoring my voice, my singing voice? What are you doing? But I'm going to say this live today because I don't know what he's doing. Because all I know in my church, I'm just going to say a past grand worthy matron from the international side, a sister in my church said to me, always as a child, if God brings you to it, he will bring you through it. Thank you, Sister Regina.
Mhm.
And now that I remember as a child, and now I'm on the brink of my 49th year of life, and I say that's what it is. So thank you for honoring me because I am walking through something. But as you know, and I will state this, as a mental health professional, you're going to listen. As a clergyman, you're going to listen to stories. But when you go through it yourself and have to answer, am I an eagle? Am I a crow? Am I a product of my environment? What is it? These are all these cliches. But when you're going through it and then you feel what the folks that you counseled and healed and case managed, that's when it gets real. But when you're strong And I come from a family, strong women from Mississippi, Route 78B. And I say that my summers there are allowing me to be this vessel, because I would have gave up. I would have gave up pain medicine. I don't get as much. Now they give me gabapentin. I had to do some research on gabapentin. That's a new drug, nerve. But the point is, for you to, a person who never used pain pills and everything, you're restricting me in my healing. So what do I have to do? Dig down. I had natural childbirth. So if I got through natural childbirth, because I didn't want a C-section, I said, turn that off. I can't push. But that's my life. But again, it'll be in my books. And just know that I'm a vessel. My story is not my story, it's my creator. And once I accepted that, I was able to grieve relationships, family, interconnections, jobs, and things like that, because we can see it. But don't let your light be blocked. And I'm sorry to be on my soapbox.
Yeah.
But for me to be here, I said, no, we work together as a collaborative here. And we are sisters, and it's Women's History Month. And guess what? My pain level got me on here sooner than I thought. So I just wanted to say thank you, Father God, for the wisdom and allowing me to see something that I didn't see. And we all have to look at our lives and what is our purpose. Are we living a purpose-driven life? Or are we allowing the world to define who we are? And I know as women, someone told me, I don't care about your degrees. And the thing is, it was a Southern person, and I'm not trying to put you on blast if you hear the playback. But what it was is that men, as on the last show, these men, it's different, but it's together. Proverbs 31 woman is a person who comes in and understands the word. And I'm going to respect you as the man. However, how they say, respect is earned and not given. So if a person is a survivor of abuse, in my books, I'm not going to share it. You can come read. As Anika shared something, and thank you for helping me in that healing process as well, Queen. And that's it.
Awesome.
Women's History
Awesome.
Month 2026. We here, sisters.
Yes, yes.
We give that a round of applause right there. We need that.
And you know what else? As women, you know, Dr. Diamond and Toya, we don't fix each other's crown enough. We don't celebrate. Women are so jealous of one another.
Tell the truth.
Instead of, like you said, when you came in, you said it's a movement. Instead of doing a movement, you get more with numbers, you know? So everybody sisters can come together and do a movement, move together instead of separately, because you can't change the world alone.
Amen. You cannot
what
change the
did
world
Fabulous
alone.
say? I'm a movement by myself, but we're a force together. That was in my incoming speech for one of these organizations.
That's right.
I'm going to move. You're coming or not.
Yes.
That's it. So thank you, Anika. We're a movement. We all met, and here we've been. We've been, how you say, 10 toes down.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
If you don't
10
stand for
toes
something,
down.
you'll fall for something.
Yes.
That was my late brother saying.
That's
10 years younger than me, and I'm making sure his legacy lives on through his 3 babies.
So I agree with that 100%. And as you stated, Anika, and you too, Toya, there are women that we're going to discuss today. And they are the women that had 10 toes down, and then they worked together with others, but some of them made an impact individually, but then others joined on. Or sometimes you have to be the footprint for the other person to step in your footprint so they can keep taking that legacy and moving it forward. That's what we're doing. And we do it in different ways because we're following other women that we don't know that intentionally we're following them, right? But we may not know all their names, but we're stepping in their shoes because they have probably many things that we have had, all of us have in common with them. One, being a woman. Two, being born into the world of trauma because we're Black. So we deal with that, right? So that's the stuff that we go through. So some of these women we're going to talk about. First person that I have some fun facts on is Ida B. Wells, right? She has been highlighted, but we're going to highlight her even more today. So I'm going to give a little tidbits about her, and then we can discuss her, and you can discuss what you know about her. So Ida B. Wells. Ida B. Wells. Okay, she sued a railroad company in 1884 for forcing her out of a first-class seat. 71 years before Rosa Parks. She co-owned and wrote for the Memphis Free Speech newspaper. She helped found the NAACP. Through her name was later left off early, listed due to the internal politics. So we're going to highlight her today because, yes, she was the first person who decided, you're not going to tell me to get off of this car. And I did read her story like a few months ago, like during Black History Month. I actually read her story. And when I tell you, this woman actually took on a monster, which is the lynching. She was the first to write about lynching, or at least one of the first. But when you think about women, she stood out there as a Black woman who head on said, I'm going to write about the lynching that's going on in the United States, across the East Coast especially. She decided to do that. She 10 toes down. She had death threats. She had everything. And you name it, she went through it. And also to hear that her name was left off of, being an establisher of the NAACP is very heartbreaking. But I knew that she was a part of it early on. But she is impactful. So Ida B. Wells, either of you, do you know anything about her? Did you learn something real quick right now about her that you didn't know?
Well,
go ahead.
I was a Martin Luther King player. I made sure, even though I went to Catholic school, to be cultured. That's one thing about my strong aunt, mom T from down south, Nanette. So when you think about it, when you go to the Jim Crow South to visit, I went there 2 years ago. Remember, we were in New Orleans. And I said, I'm going to go over the bridge. I'm going to go see my family. It was a time warp. So that was an eye-opener for me, because when you go to our areas, we cultivate, we extend the land. What those folks do in the South is they're not going to grow up the land, because guess what? The people don't like them. So what happens is you go up your little dirt road, your compound is your compound. So when I went there, because I used to spend a lot of summers there, and to see it looked exactly the same. The only difference is one of my cousins is a Cowboy fans. I went there, that's where all the horses had TVs, they had their swings and things like that. But my point is, they took care of one another. And however, we didn't grow the land. So I'm thinking, what is the difference in the South? So for you to say that the fact that I didn't know is that they left the name out, because at that time, I just knew what she did. Because you have to think, a child coming in, you were watering them. These are the strong women. Yes, Ida B. Wells, we had different oral speaking. Someone would come up and do a piece on her. But the point here is, so imagine as a young person going to the South, Jim Crow South, and you're seeing that as a kid. Then you grow up, you believe that. I'm going to stand up. So that's why I open my mouth. So what I'm thinking is, possibly she had a spirit, someone, and that was her job as the vessel here, to be the first person to speak up. Because I know when I speak up, I have to make sure my heart starts to palpitate. That's God. They say God is within us. That's when I know I'm right. Then after I'm done, I exhale. So maybe that moment is what she was having. So anyone listening, if you're going to be an activist, a person that's a motivator, you have to have that roar in you. But it happens to be God made me born in the month of August. So I'm a Leo. And I did a training called Hands on Difficult People. And just so happens the lion was the one that met my personality. But it's my zodiac sign. So I'm going to just say that's a food for thought. I feel that I believe in numbers. History repeats itself, as Dr. Diamond and Nika could say. It happens over and over again. Okay. So I don't want to be long-winded, but what I do know is that if she moved, that was her contribution to Black and American history as well as history. So that means that you may just say one thing. You look at the history, you're known for something, but that's what creates our history that cannot be shrunk. It happened for a reason. I believe it.
She opened the doors for a lot of us. She paved the way, for us to speak, freedom of speech, and just to be a leader. She was a born leader. Everybody knows that, but she led the way. She paved the way. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. I was just talking to my granddaughter. She was asking me a question. I'm sorry, you
No, I
guys.
saw your lips moving. I'm like, oh,
Where's
I
my
can't hear.
Jordan at? Where's Jordan? I want to say hi to
She
Jordan.
just,
Tell her,
she
her auntie miss
she
her.
just went outside. I will. As soon as she come back in here, I'll make sure she say hello to everybody.
Mhm.
I know, because you know
I
we're gonna be
will.
busy. We coming down south, 295 South for some youth events. You know I'm there.
Yes, 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 yes. So our next person is called, her name is Diane Nash. I honestly didn't know anything about her. So Diane Nash, quick fun fact for her is that as a college student, she became the key strategist for the freedom rights. The freedom rides. She confronted the Mississippi governor on live TV at the age of 23 years old. She refused to pay $100 fine for teaching nonviolence, saying she'd rather go to jail.
Wow.
So I never knew anything about her. And again, I picked women that we don't really talk about too much. And for her to be a strategist for the Freedom Rides, hey, everybody knew about the Freedom Rides. There were a lot of people that lost their lives. The three young men, y'all know about the three young men that died,
Right.
they were killed. And then there were women that were killed as well. But to organize that back then, this was again contribution to people. You need to listen to our voices. Understand that Black people are human beings. We're not objects. We're not property. We're not any of those things. So she seemed to have had that voice to stand up. And I like the fact that she said, I'm not going to pay a fine for teaching nonviolence. I'm not going to pay that. So I'll go to jail. So what do you two ladies think about this fun fact about Diane Nash? Never heard of her, right?
No, I
We
never
all
heard
learned
of
something
her.
today. So we
Yes, we
learned
did.
something about her.
But
Yeah.
but she sound like an amazing woman. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but I never heard of her.
Never heard of her. So I would even challenge everyone to look her up and get more of her history and how did she become this dynamic woman who decided, let me help with the freedom rides.
Yes,
Right.
Next.
but that's what it is. Where you think about it, when my son was younger, I said it before on a previous show. Bank of America used to have museums on us. So if anyone who's a Bank of America customer, look, because I know at one point it used to be once a month. Oh, you can go. Then they changed it to a certain week. Then it was just during a particular, say, Black History Month. Go to a museum. Just remember, because Bank of America used to give back. I'm not a customer right now. I prefer the smaller bank because I get my fees back when I'm traveling. But the point is, knowledge is power. Go and start looking. And during these months, I know that
Right.
with mentoring, we do the particular projects around that. So for anyone during those months, go and check it out. Just Google
Right.
somebody. And thank you,
Yeah.
Dr. Diamond, because that's what we did when we was younger. We had no cell phones.
No.
I had Nintendo. That was it. I think that was the
Right.
first one I paid Contra because I used to like
How
to
about,
go
how
down
about
south.
Atari? How about Atari?
Yep,
Right.
yes. And then they came with the
Okay.
ones that you plug in
Game Boy.
trap.
Right. Right. Oh, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
Game Boy. We had all of those things back then, and we don't have the luxury of what these children have today.
Yeah.
Also, we had encyclopedias. Okay.
Right.
We had the duo. What is it? The decimal system.
The Dewey Decimal System. And I
Yes, for the in
I
the
want to take the
library.
kids to the
The
library.
cards.
Right.
Yes, in the
So in
cards.
the
That's what we
section
had.
that it has cause that's math. And like I said, I'm
Yes.
visual. I'm working because I'm going to be a professor. That's on my daggone bucket list. So I ain't going to talk no more. But that's where the knowledge comes. And it's unfortunate that we got to pay for that. We pay for
Yeah.
credits. But my girlfriend said, she said, I'm teaching. I said, okay. I said, because I know I'm not paying for my PhD. I'm already doing my research. I'm just not paying because, I'm backwards and I'm probably talking too much, but I'm that much of a nerd. So I just know that I am a visual person and I'm in study time. I'm doing my methodology as we speak. But
Nice.
the point is, numbers is there. It's there. You
Right.
just do a sheet and write it down mentally. Because if I could do mental math, it's all good. But only thing I'm
Right.
saying is, try to look into your history. And my thing here is someone was explaining to me about this website called DuckDuckGo. So I don't know. I want somebody to let us know about it. But anyway, I went on DuckDuckGo. It's not filtered. They're saying that Google is filtered. That when you go on to there, it's limited. But when you go on DuckDuckGo, it'll give you everything. So I'm just gonna test that because we want some folks. If right on the couch, the butterfly room, tell us if you know something about DuckDuckGo. Let us know because we want to know.
Yes.
Why is there
Let
a
us
different
know.
platform? I want to know because there's so many conspiracy theories, and I don't want to talk because they monitor our phones and our communications.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Fannie Lou Hamer is next. Okay, so I'm pretty sure everybody's have seen Fannie Lou Hamer, but again, I'm going to give you all 3 fun facts about her. She learned she had been forcibly sterilized without her consent, a practice called the Mississippi appendectomy. Her 1964 DNC testimony was so powerful that President Johnson called an emergency press conference to stop it from airing. She founded the Freedom Farm Cooperative to fight poverty through land ownership. Now, what I do remember about her is, yes, her being in Congress and talking about what happened to her, which is they did this a lot to a lot of Black women, is sterilize them without their consent.
Wow.
I know
she was one of those women.
Yes, and they were from the Midwest, someone I know personally, and then later in life, she couldn't have children. So do you understand what I mean? That was a way to populate, and it couldn't be proven. So what they said is you had some type of medical conditions in certain people's cases that were not true. So that was sterilization. So now if you have someone at a certain age that had a certain amount of children, that's what they kind of did. Because for me, I need to see some paperwork. And again, that's where a second opinion comes in. You can't always think someone is the gospel. Because at this particular point, if someone does not in their craft and they're like, they're not current, then that means that their approach is going to be different. I understand that. You can go by what your beliefs are, but that was just an example. Euthanize, in ethics, euthanasia, if someone's suffering. But right now with the FDA, everything is regulated. Pain, pain pills. This is my 6th knee surgery. So now I got to use gabapentin. One other thing we tell people is if you are trying to regulate that, you take 2 Benadryls. The Benadryl going to put you, and you don't have to use the pain pill. It's not addicted. And I learned that from an MSN. So do you understand? They're regulating every medication, and I am in pain now, and that's why I'm sitting in this car, and I don't have it. Gabapentin, all these uses. And then one thing that I look at, I Google stuff. So in this particular case, they may have told her, but there's no record of that. We don't know. We honestly don't know. That's that person's history. The only person know what really happened in that room is her, the doctor, and our God.
Right. Well, I'm gonna piggyback off of what you said about depopulizing, because the goal is for us not to have more children. So if you sterilize the woman, you can stop the pregnancy. End of story. You did something to her where she cannot reproduce. And the more that they have tried, as some of these our Caucasian counterparts who feel that we are not, again, human beings and we don't have rights. When you make a decision like that without someone's consent, it is totally disrespectful, disregarding of that person's rights. And they looked at her like she doesn't have rights. And it's so bad. It was so bad back then in the South that again, it played out so much that you couldn't even get past the prejudice and the discrimination. And yes, it was in the North as well, but it was so predominantly heavy in the South. And she is someone from the South, and it's unfortunate. And then for President Johnson to go out of his way to stop airing her truth, that's a problem, but she continued to speak up and speak out. So again, Fannie Lou Hamer, if you don't know anything about her, look her up so you can get more information about who she is and why she stood up for women, especially Black women. Zora Neale Hurston is our other person. Now, we all have been dabbling in writing, and she is a writer, Zora Neale Hurston. She studied hoodoo in New Orleans and documented rituals firsthand. She worked as an anthropologist under Franz Boas, the father of American anthropology. Her classic, Their Eyes Were Watching God, wasn't widely celebrated until decades after her death. Now, I have always heard of Zora Neale Hurston. She also had a brownstone in New York City. A lot of those who were writers like Langston Hughes, Zora Neale Hurston, and others, they all kind of lived together at one time. And that's a normal thing because people that came from the South, my grandmother did it too. She would come up, her brother came up, they lived with her, then they went off. When they established themselves, they went off on their own. So that was a common practice, especially among the writers as well, or anyone that have touched the Apollo Theater. They all kind of lived in the same area in around the Apollo on 125th Street. And there are some brownstones right behind that particular street. But Zora Neale Hurston, yes, hoodoo, as we call it, it's considered to be, as they changed it over the time, voodoo, but Vodou is the real term. And if you look it up, Vodou is a religion that is practiced. The Yoruba tribe, they practice a lot of it. And then there were others that have practiced it in Africa as well, in different countries. But, people, it was mistermed. The term was changed because when you're white back then in that colonial time, they didn't know what it was. So everything to them was taboo and didn't know that that was a religion. So Zora Neale Hurston, she wrote about it. So I would highly suggest that you look her up and see how she got the history about hoodoo, vodou, and you will get more of a history of what it really is and how it was impactful in some people's lives and how some people still practice it today, especially those that are, in the Low Country. A lot of them still practice vodou as part of their religion. So Zora Neale Hurston, any one of you grabs, ladies, you know her? Anything about her?
I feel real special this morning. I'm telling you, you're teaching me so much, Dr. Diamond.
Thank you. And that's the goal here, is to teach, because I know everyone don't know about these wonderful women and what they've done. Octavia Butler is next. She wrote her first novel at age 10 after watching a bad sci-fi movie and thinking, I can do better. She became the first science fiction writer to receive a MacArthur Genius Grant. Her journals included affirmations like, I shall be a best-selling writer. Never knew anything about this young lady, Octavia Butler. Didn't know that she was a sci-fi writer. I looked at her name and I said, I've never heard of this woman here. So Octavia Butler, again, she was one of the ones who became the first science fiction writer to receive a MacArthur Genius Grant. Take your time, look her up, see what she's about. Again, Octavia Butler.
Real quick, I wanted to speak about Nora Hill Hurston. I'm saying off. I'm behind
yes.
the funeral. Excuse me for that. But I do know, remembering her pieces and reading for her. And I know that at that time I was in my teenage years, and that was something that it influenced me, just reading it, a woman writer, because we always talked about Malcolm X and everything. So she was one of the earlier folks, inspiring writers that I read. So again, now to hear her name, now that I'm in my 40s, it is saying that she has become, and sometimes have a person that has works, but they don't become famous until they're no longer with us. So thank you.
Yes.
So that's where the thing doesn't matter, because history is timeless. So it doesn't matter what we find out. So to the little ones, share that. Give I always give books as gifts.
Yes, that's very important. Books are good. Books are excellent to give as a gift. Nina Simone. Now, all of us have heard of Nina Simone, but here are 3 facts about her. She originally trained to be a classical pianist, not a singer. She performed at Carnegie Hall before she ever had a hit record. And her stage name, Nina Simone, was created to hide her nightclub performances from her strict mother. So that's how she came up with the name Nina Simone. To be honest, I knew the fun facts about her being a singer, but I didn't know she was a classical pianist. But you can see that, though, when you see these clips of her. She's always at the piano playing. And for her to perform at the Carnegie Hall, that is a prestigious level to be on, because if you've never been there, it is like, how can I put this? It will equate to like going to the Apollo. Carnegie Hall is like that, but at a higher level, because it's more classical and more at an elite level. So when you make it there, you made it, like in the world of those in society. When you look at white society and black society, if Nina Simone made it that far, she was outstanding for her to get the Carnegie Hall. That's what I'm going to say about that, because again, Carnegie Hall is one of those prestigious places.
But what does Madam Butterfly tell us? And one of the things with strong Black women, what is it saying? I can show you better than I can tell you. So that means that if that was her alter ego and her mother, I just know sometimes there are things that I am doing now I wish I would have had the freedom to do as a kid, but it was my life purpose. I know what my mother said before she died: keep my daughter in Catholic school, and that's how it went, so that I can have the foundation. And not understanding, and the guest that we had on, Kay Johnson, she's a brain aneurysm survivor, and basically she said I was going to come back to church because you need that foundation. Then life happens. So I sit back and I said, sometimes we're hard on ourselves, but by her being at that classical and looking at her performances with spirit, when you're performative to your craft. But what I had to learn, and I'm just going to say to anyone, are you performative to your job? Or are you performative to places that don't feed you back? That's what we're working on in this movement, because that is where mental health is birthed. Because biopsychosocial assessment. The bio is what's going on with you. Psycho is your brain. Socially, all those three things. And from working at JACO and Crawford accredited agencies, what it is, spirituality is the glue. Whenever you go to those places that have positive outcomes, if you don't have a sense of spiritual self, I would tell folks, when you were doing the 12 steps, which we're going to do in the butterfly room, I have to finish that, is my life has become unmanageable. That can apply to anyone. The next thing is the stages of change. So think about these people we're talking about in women's history. We do not know what went on in their family of origin. All we get is the outcome. I love outcomes. As a quality assurance director, inaugural at that, a person of color, to create this for my people, to sit and read every single incident report for a mental health agency that services almost 500 consumers. I have heard it all. So when I go into these streets, I cannot believe what I see. I cannot. Because I am the one that helped them to clean themselves up through the stages of change, to experience that backlash of people that look like me is sickening. It makes me sick, because we are killing ourselves. And I'm sorry to be on a tangent, but that's what's on my spirit today. Because now you're saying what her name came from. That was her alter ego. When they say Sasha is Beyonce's alter ego, I wanted to be a dancer, a performer, an actress. That was what I wanted. Oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. I said, I'm a genius. I don't know about all that. All I know is I graduated 5th from my class. Could have been a valedictorian, but I wanted to stay in the Catholic school. So my point here is, I don't need the titles. So that's one thing. When I hear, oh, she wants a title. No, I don't. I don't want it. I'm just living out my works. It just so happens to be. So women who are listening today, what is your life's purpose? That's what I challenge. I always ask people, Dr. Diamond, we ask people when they come in there to meet with, when we on the couch today, right?
Yeah.
So that's real,
exactly.
lady. We are in a brink of war. We are in a brink of war. What matters now? What matters? I'm going to leave it there, because I don't want to be on this soapbox today.
Thank you. That's okay. We get these tidbits in between, so that's good. Dr. Joy DeGruy. Now, you all heard me talk about her before. Here are two fun facts about her. Her groundbreaking theory of post-traumatic slave syndrome, which is PTSS, reshaped conversations about generational trauma. She worked in both social work and criminal justice, bridging academic and community healing. Again, when I read her book and how I encountered, what her literature is, because I was writing my dissertation at that time. During that time, my studies was about African American women and the differences, the intra-racial discrimination between dark-skinned women, really about dark-skinned women, and what they experience. So I had to go back in history to understand where it's all coming from. And
Right.
I happened to come by her book, and I said, well, let me read this book. And her book has so much information. It took her 12 years to write that book.
Wow.
But a 12-year study gave her such a outcome. The results that she came to terms with was that generational trauma, we have it. All of us have it. And we have it in different degrees, but we have it because what we do is we pass on those particular traumas to the next generation. Is it
Right.
intentional? No, but it happens. We always think about safety first, right? So if we think about safety, how do we look at it? It's how the world looks at us, it's how we begin to put it out. And when we put it out on the level of anxiety and fear. That's how we put it out to our kids, and it was put out the same way to us. And it really is equal to our survival. So it's unfortunate that these generational traumas equal our survival. And it shouldn't be that way because our Caucasian counterparts, they don't necessarily live like that. They don't have these type of fears at all, but we are born into it. And even today, when you think about today, people are still losing their lives. And I'm talking about Black people. They're
Right.
still being shot down or put in, Sandra Bland, when she was put into that cell, we don't know what happened to her.
Right.
We don't know. Breonna Taylor, they went to her house and she didn't even interact with her ex-boyfriend anymore. But yet they shot that woman down in her house. And guess what? The police walk off and they live their lives. And
Right.
it's unfortunate, but we are continuously going through these things. But the trauma is, what we need to look at. Why? Understand the trauma so you can understand how you operate in this world. But what I will tell you is that type of information can also help you understand who you are and then go towards what healing looks like, because you don't want to live in trauma your whole life. You
Right.
want to step into that healing world. What does that look like? I don't have to live like this. And
Right.
complex trauma is also real because we have a complexity of trauma. So it's one after the other after the other. But now you got to figure out, how do I heal from all of these complex traumas? So,
Right.
this is what I would say about that. But look up Dr. DeGruy. Her last name is spelled Degruy. First name is Joy. Okay, so check her out.
Thank
Um,
you, Dr. Diamond, for sharing that. And this had, as I said, my family comes from Mississippi. Again,
mhm,
Mississippi. So when you think about that, when people look at me with my exterior, what they used to say, they pick cotton. Don't cut your nose to spite your face. See what
Face.
you look,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
People throw rocks and hide their hands. I didn't know what that meant.
mhm,
That's a word problem all my life because I wasn't in the radio. I found out in my 30s. What does that mean? Well, if you
They
don't
say
have
throw.
a
She
multicultural
throw.
environment, I'm
She
not going to
throws
do that.
stones.
What the white
Hmm.
folks do, people that don't look like us, some correction, people outside of black and brown, they don't look like us.
mhm,
So when you go to their houses, they may cuss at their parents. And I'm looking at you. If I would have said that, I would have got something to crap to plaster my face. They
Right.
smoking cigarettes in high school. Oh, I got my cigarette, my ashtray under my bed. Because you know what? Because they all smoke in the house, they don't know the daughter's smoking too. Because
Right.
they
yeah,
smoke in the house. So you understand these are things that we experience, and that's one of the reasons why everybody came to my house. Because of that, I
mhm,
remember it was a family member, and I said, I have the boys. there's no girls here. If I'm
Mm.
cooking, I can't do that because if something happens on my watch, I'm responsible.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a person, and then when I did my thesis, it was about women in abuse. That's how we knew it's not just about physical; it's about emotional, economic. So
Right.
these are things that we have to look at. So thank you for hitting it. And we're going to have to talk about that on another show. Talk about that
Mm-hmm.
generational curses because we all have survived that. So when you think about your family of origin, when someone's speaking to you, and the
Mm-hmm.
whole thing is some people thinking, oh, that's going to make you strong. Everybody's personality is different. Because guess what? You're teaching that person to endure emotional abuse, period.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what starts
Yeah.
at. What is a
Mm.
huzzy? Come here as a child. Oh, you little huzzy. What the heck is a huzzy? I still don't know what a huzzy is. So I was talking to a friend. I think huzzy is a little bitch, but you can't call it no a bitch as a kid. So what the heck is a huzzy?
Oh,
Young ladies, tell me what a huzzy is. Because I was called a huzzy.
Dr. Diamond, I'm sorry. Can you spell her name again?
I
Joy's
can.
last name, please.
Joy. First name is Joy, Joy.
Uh-huh.
DeGruy, Degruy. I actually have her book. It's not. Do I have it sitting here next to me? I might have it.
I really went to school today. Today was a. Thank you.
Oh, we have a few more to go. I
Yeah.
have some
Today was-
other
I
women
hope
to
we're
go
not too
through.
raw today. I hope we're not too raw today because my niece is here and I talked to her about these words because she's dealing with bullying. So excuse me because she's in the car with us.
No,
And
well, she's learning some history
no,
about these Black women,
I
so
want her when she
that's
looks in the
good.
mirror, are you confident today? It's
Right.
about you. I'm working on her self-esteem. When you go outside, you prepare. That's it. I'm gonna
She's
do
the
what?
prize.
That means that little light has to be birthed. You put
She's the
that on her
prize.
chest.
Never forget that.
No.
Right,
11
She
right.
is the prize. Never forget that.
Thank
Right.
you.
Right.
So we have now next up Mary McLeod Bethune. She started her school with $1.50 and 5 students. She carried a cane not for support, but as a symbol of authority. She was the highest ranking Black woman in the federal government under FDR. Now, I wanted to go to Bethune-Cookman College. I did get into that school, but then I had chose Virginia State over the school. Then there was some background stuff that happened. I ended up going to Savannah State, but that's where I wanted to go originally because I heard a lot about Bethune-Cookman. So if you never heard any fun facts about her, again, Mary McLeod Bethune, this woman started a school with $1.50 and 5 students. That's power. You hear me?
I want that. I want that.
Yes,
You
she
know,
stretched
they
that
say
money.
they
And
say
actually,
history
she had
repeats itself.
some backing. She had some
Right.
funders. That's what it's a movement. See, they made
Right.
that school and still here. So thank
They,
you.
they say history repeats itself. I want to repeat that.
Amen.
Okay.
Yes.
Exactly. So
Mhm.
now we have Dr. Patricia Bath. Now, she invented the laser FICO, a device that restored sight to people blind for decades. She was the first Black woman doctor to receive a medical patent, and she co-founded the American Institute for the Prevention of Blindness. So
Amazing.
again, her name is Dr. Patricia Bath.
Thank you. This is just great. Now it's just my niece is knowing what we're doing now. So thank you. And I know Jordan, she probably somewhere gonna listen to the playback because that's your
Yeah, she will. Actually, I'm gonna go through these with her individually so she can hear about this. Ava DuVernay. I picked Ava DuVernay because she is also not an up and coming director, but she's out there now. But here's the 3 fun facts about her. She didn't pick up a camera until age 32. Now, who would have known that? Okay. She became the first woman to direct a $100 million film, A Wrinkle in Time. She founded Array to amplify underrepresented filmmakers globally. So that's Ava DuVernay. Okay. Michelle Obama. You know, I can't go without talking about Michelle Obama.
I know that's right. Bring
gotta
it.
go.
3 fun facts about her.
Mhm.
She requested that the White House garden be 100% organic. She and Barack went on their first date to see Do the Right Thing, and she's the only first lady to hold 2 Ivy League degrees.
Nice.
Kudos to our first lady.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
Yeah. She is our staple in our history. So our goal, our charge is that, I hope in my existence, I will see someone surpass that. Because true growth is letting your sister open the doors, and always, as in our kids, for them to do better than us.
Right.
Dr.
Right.
Right.
Yep. Claudette Colvin. Now, this, I know about Claudette Colvin. I'm just going to, before I put this out there, have the two of you ever heard of her before?
No.
No. Okay, so you're about to find out who she is.
I'm ready.
Claudette Colvin. Now, and I want you to look her up later because her story is very interesting. Claudette Colvin, Colvin. Claudette. First name is Claudette Colvin. Okay. At age,
I'm sorry.
yes, Colvin.
VIN.
Okay. So at age 15, she refused to give up her bus seat.
Oh.
9 months before Rosa Parks.
Yes.
He said she was thinking of Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth when she refused to move. She was one of the plaintiffs in Browder versus Gale, the case that ended bus segregation.
Yep.
So again, we're talking about a 15-year-old, but the story is this. When you get a chance to really read her story, so everyone that's listening, this is why she sat on the bus. Her friend at school was being mistreated. Mm-hmm. And she said, okay. So she decided this is the way I'm going to fight back. So she got on that bus because she saw some injustice. And she got on that bus, 15 years old. And she sat there. And she said, I'm not getting off this seat. I'm not getting out this seat, and I'm not getting off this bus. This is a 15-year-old. And the reason why she was not highlighted as she should have been is because of colorism. And I'm going to leave it there because I want you to do the research. I'm not going to give you any more information because I want you to see why colorism played a role and why Claudette and Rosa, one was picked over the other. And I'm going to leave it there. Okay. So again, Claudette Colvin.
Yeah.
Now we have Henrietta Lacks. Everybody knows Henrietta Lacks. And if you don't know, I'm going to give you some information about Henrietta Lacks. Her cells, HeLa cells, were the first immortal human cells ever grown in a lab. They've been used in developing vaccines, cancer treatments, and even IVF. Her family didn't learn about the use of her cells for over 20 years. So she went in because she was not feeling well. She ended up finding out that she was sick. But they took her cells and because her cells kept duplicating. So they took her cells and they kept utilizing it to solve a lot of medical mysteries. But her family were never compensated after she expired. She didn't even know they did it while she even was here on Earth. So again, I want to highlight Henrietta Lacks. For those that don't know about her, please look her up and understand why her human cells were immortal. Mamie Till Mobley. She insisted on opening the casket for Emmett Till so the world could see what racism had done to her son. She became a lifelong educator and a civil rights activist. She founded the Emmett Till Players, a youth auditory group. So again, Mamie Till Mobley. If you don't know nothing about her, that's Emmett Till's mother. Mm-hmm. She fought from the time she found out what happened to her son till she buried her son and thereafter. Go on YouTube and you can hear the story that she told about her son and the impact it had on her as well as the community and really people around the world. It was very impactful what happened to her son. Ona Judge. Never heard of Ona Judge until today myself. She escaped from enslavement from George and Martha Washington at age 22. Washington spent years trying to recapture her. She never returned. She lived the rest of her life as a free woman in New Hampshire. That's Ona Judge. Ona Judge, she escaped slavery. Her owners were George Washington and Martha Washington. Katherine Johnson. She calculated the trajectory for John Glenn's orbit, and he refused to fly unless she verified the numbers. She skipped several grades and started high school at age 10, and NASA awarded her the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Katherine Johnson, that's our Hidden Figures. So if you've never seen the movie, please go watch it. It is very impactful. Queen Nzinga. She negotiated with the Portuguese while sitting on the servant's back because they refused to offer her a chair. She led armies into battle well into her 60s, and she created safe haven for runaway enslaved Africans. Now, that part I didn't know, the last part, but I knew she led an army, and I knew that the Portuguese thought she was lower than them rather, and she sat on her servant's back, and she sat up there because she was a queen. You can't lower a queen when they know who they are. And that's the problem. They thought the Portuguese was going to come in and lower her, and she lowered them. So I actually applaud her for her bravery and show that, she was standing 10 toes down. Like, no, you're not going to change me because you don't even know me. But she ended up showing them who she was because she went into battle with the Portuguese and she fought them for many, many years. And lastly, for the Black women that I have on this list is Mary C. Cole. She funded her own trip to the Crimean War after being rejected by the British War. She ran the British Hotel, as a combination hospital and rest center for soldiers. She was voted the greatest Black Briton in 2004. So again, Mary C. Cole. If no one knew about her, I never knew about her either. I didn't know that she was there at the Crimean War. So that's good to know that she was really like a person that started a hospital for the soldiers. So that's great. Now I'm going to move into some quick facts for the Hispanic women and Native American women that I wanted to share. Dolores Huerta. Okay, she was a school teacher, and she's a Mexican American. She was a school teacher before becoming a labor organizer. Seeing her students come to class hungry pushed her into activism. She coined the iconic phrase, "Si se puede," yes, we can, which later inspired national political movements. Despite being a major architect of the farm workers movement, she was often left out of the spotlight, and she still kept organizing well into her 80s. So again, let's clap for Dolores Huerta, a Mexican American. So awesome for her. Cecilia Cruz, Cuban. Now, most people know Cecilia Cruz because she was a singer. Known as the Queen of Salsa, she recorded over 70 albums in her lifetime. Her signature cry, azúcar, sugar, started as a joke about Cubans' sugar plantations and became her global trademark. She was banned from returning to Cuba after leaving, so she carried a small bag of Cuban soil to be buried with her. Wow. Never knew that.
Wow.
That's very powerful.
Beautiful.
Very powerful.
Yes.
The extra facts, for sharing that, because at this point, every day is a school day.
It is.
And I'm so ready to read and look this stuff up.
Yes.
I appreciate that,
because we get caught up in the hustle and bustle, but history defines what we're doing. Sometimes I say this, my mother's not here, but I watched I forgot what, I love movies. I'm a movie rat, as Dr. Diamond says, but there are messages in there. So I feel that at this age of morphing, I feel my mother's presence more so now than ever. And I ask God, what's going on with me? Explain this? And there's days when they say the footprints in the sand. That's really what it is. These are things
Mm-hmm.
written by folks, and they're tools for us. That's all that I.
Yes.
The butterfly room is a daily tool. There's a message.
Mm-hmm.
There is this, and
Mm-hmm.
people share. Now I share stuff. When I see it, if I see it good, I'm like, it's good enough. I'm gonna share. I say repost. That's what this is. We have to heal our community.
Right.
This message today is going to, for the folks in the playback, we need to know who we are. That explains what doors were open. But if you don't, if they shrink the history, and
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, as we've been saying it, I don't want to, I'm on the soapbox today. Oh, Lord, help me, Jesus. But what I'm saying is that we are a product of our environment, quote unquote, they say. So what if we flip the script? How they say with the kids in school, you take that frown, turn it upside down, take everything that's thrown at us and eat it and regurgitate it and
Mm-hmm.
live the correct way. Because when you think about it, we get up every day by ourselves, right? Then we go out into the world. We get what the world gives us. As they say, if God brings you to it, He's gonna bring us through. But the choice is ours. Why do we gotta go and be violent? But now, by us
Mm-hmm.
seeing what's going on in our government, I never thought in my wildest dreams I'll see what's happening. But think about it. There's a sample and the whole. America is the whole. We are just a sample. So every sample went and did something, it can change the whole. It's probability. That's why I love math something. You can't change math in history.
Right. Right.
Oh, yeah, you know
Right.
what?
Exactly.
You go outside, take
Well, no,
something.
I have to say to you about history though. They have changed our history. They never told us our history. This is why we're talking about this today,
Right.
because they never did that. They altered our history and changed it to the point where we don't know what it really is. We have to do the research to understand the history. Go back and listen to, people like Dr. Ben, Dr. Muhammad, all of the people who have actually done the research about Black people and our existence and what we have done and how we have impacted the world. We are the first to be in the world, the first. And it's important that we are highlighted and that we are known, and that we should never feel less than, because they always made us feel that way. So this is why we're doing what we're doing right now. So
Correct.
yes,
We lived
research.
in the Cape of Hope. You seen
Yes.
2012.
Right.
Right? The
Yes.
movie 2012. I watched those movies. We lived in Africa. Africa, as they quote on say, is the Cape of Hope, where it cannot flood. Okay, the way ever it is, and I just all I'm gonna say, if you do the research, so that in that movie, and they were in those arcs, they go here. Do you think just think about that? It's over and over again, and sometimes we can only go by what they give us. And I never went
Mhm.
that it's America home and free, but when someone says make America great again, I don't understand that. Because if you
Well,
look at the probability and what we're getting, America was
right.
greater, and now where we are. That's just all I'm gonna say on that matter.
You know what? We have an advantage because it's written.
Mm-hmm.
Our ancestors went through this already.
Amen.
We could take that and add to it, and then we can be great again. So
Right.
it's all of
That's
your
what it
own
is. But it's
perspective. It's the way that you look
over.
at it. You know what I mean? So I don't think of it like they think.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We
Great minds
are
think
at an
alike.
advantage. I learned so much today that I'm ready to get off just to read and educate myself and my little one.
Yeah,
But that's
because it's
to
very
do.
important. It's very
Right.
important that we do this, because again, if we're not highlighted, then you will never know. And
You'll
that's
never
what
know.
ignorance is about. Is
Right.
keeping us ignorant to the
Right.
people who have done things that we
Right.
would never have known about. Okay.
Right.
Of
There
course.
are, again, women. I couldn't pick the typical women that we've heard about over and over again. I
Right.
needed to highlight people we don't discuss on an everyday basis, right?
Right.
Because I think that's important, that these women, they have done things and no one knows what they have done. And
Mhm.
I am in that class right now. I'm sitting in class right now
Right.
reading this as well. So I'm learning some of these things I didn't know and other things I did know. So it is important that we're doing what we're doing right now. And I hope that those that are listening to the playback, they do what you're going to be doing, Anika, the same thing, going back and research, because the information is there for us. It's just about reading and absorbing the information, taking it in, and utilizing that.
And try their website. You do DuckDuckGo as a search engine. That's why I'm putting that out there, because I did a little research. I looked at something, and mirror to mirror, it looks different. Google presented some results. Now with Google, they have AI at the top. I don't like that. So what I do, I gotta take that somewhere else. Then use your common sense. With someone that's young and who's thirsty for the knowledge, you need to go to the library.
Is that through Google, DuckDuckGo?
No, you have to go into the search. You put DuckDuckGo. It's a search engine. Remember how Safari, whatever it is.
Oh, okay.
DuckDuckGo. But what they're saying now is that Google is controlling the information that comes out. You know how they say Google me, and I Google myself, see what comes up. So basically,
it says Duck AI as well. So Google says AI, but DuckDuckGo as well does too.
Well, see, that's something that's new. The last time they didn't have AI, that's how they have evolved. But you understand, they're saying is that whoever owns Google is Microsoft. You understand? They're in charge of what you get. So if I want to look at something, I want the raw material. So just
we can talk about that at the end. So when we give people information on how to go search this, I am actually going to tell people what to do too on how to search and get this information. Okay. So I got a few more that we're going to get through real quick. And her name is Ellen Ocha. She's also a Mexican American. She became the first Latina astronaut in 1993 and later the first Hispanic director of NASA's Johnson Space Center. You know, that's Katherine Johnson they're talking about. That's her space center, named after her. Mm-hmm. Oh. Before joining NASA, she was an accomplished classical flutist and even played her flute in space. She holds 3 patents for optical systems that help computers see. Okay. We also have Frida Kahlo, a Mexican. She originally wanted to be a doctor, but a bus accident changed her life path. She painted many of her self-portraits while lying in bed using a mirror attached to the canopy. She kept a pet monkey, parrot, eagle, and hairless dog, all of which appeared in her paintings. She was the first 20th century Mexican artist to have worked purchased by Louvre. Okay, you all seen Frida before. Frida has the braids, and it looks like she has, you can see her hair on her upper lip. Mm-hmm. You've seen her before. She's the artist that have wonderful paintings. And she also has a movie, I think Selma Hayek, I think is her name. Selma, she did her movie.
So she about played her part. She played her character.
Yeah, she did. She played her. So check that out, because it gives you a overall history of how she became this wonderful artist. And she's a great representation for Mexican women, you know, of course, out of Mexico. So I kudos to her. We have Wilma Mankiller. She's a Cherokee. She's from the Cherokee Nation. She was the first woman principal chief of the Cherokee Nation. Her name, Mankiller, is traditional Cherokee military title, not a nickname. Under her leadership, the Cherokee Nation's enrollment tripled and healthcare access expanded dramatically. She survived both a near fatal car accident and a kidney transplant before becoming chief. So she became the first woman principal chief of the Cherokee Nation. So kudos to her for such an accomplishment. That is Wilma Mankiller. And lastly, we have Deb Haaland, Laguna Pueblo. Okay, she is one of the first Native American women elected to Congress and the first Native American cabinet secretary in U.S. history. Both politics, she ran her own salsa company to support her daughter as a single mom. She is the 35th generation New Mexican, tracing her family roots in the region back centuries. She wore traditional Pueblo clothing when sworn into Congress to honor her ancestors. So she is the last woman that I had picked for our list of women. And we have went through a lot of women today. And I wanted to make sure that we highlighted Black and brown women, not just Black women, because there are Black and brown women that have really impacted this world and have been the backbone to a lot of um, accomplishments. And again, I wanted to highlight them so we know what we can stand on. These are women's shoulders that we can stand on. And it's very imperative that we acknowledge them. And of course, I have a list that I'm going to go through a little bit more extensively, but I'm not going to do fun facts, but you will get their names. But I wanted to actually hear your feedback from what you have learned today about the women that we discussed, because we discussed a lot of women today. So I'm wondering from your point of view, ladies, and I got Mark in the wing, so I'm gonna bring him in, what you learned today about the women that we talked about.
I learned that. How you doing, Mark? How are you?
I'm
Hey,
doing good.
Mark.
How are you doing?
Good afternoon. Well, I don't even know what time it is. Yes,
Yeah, it is. It's afternoon.
Yes, yes,
It is.
yes. I learned so much today, and it was very informative. It actually highlights and gives you, it motivates me. I can only speak for myself. It motivates me and it gives me energy knowing that even though we know history, knowing that women were so powerful even back then. Women didn't have a lot of rights or a voice. They didn't have a tone. They had nothing. And just knowing that they did big movements on their own and just accomplished so many things, it was just powerful. Like it makes me want to get up and dance. I learned so much today.
Yes.
And
Toya,
anything
what
is
about you?
possible. Do it, ladies. Come on, let's do it.
Anything. Yes.
Yes,
Anything is possible.
anything.
Thank you for that,
Yes.
Anika. Anything is possible.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you. I'm gonna wrap up. We're visiting my brother now, so to close out. Whenever we come over here to the cemetery, we have to go see my brother, my baby. But I just wanted, in my closing words, I want to thank you today, and I was surprised about being honored because this journey that we have gone on, it started with you. It started with you. You asked me something, I thought about, and the way everything worked, it started the band-aid for this process. That I had a story to tell, that I survived something for a reason. I just had my 31st surgery in a little over 10 years. What does that mean? Every time that I would go under, I would say, God, say what I say. This time I said, you in charge. If you're ready, you're ready. Then to the point of my uvula, I couldn't talk. There was a series of quiet. And imagine something in your back of your throat. You don't know what this is going on. I could not breathe. And the first time in my life to always be there for someone, it was scary. But I can share that because I'm transparent, because I am this vessel. So today I thank you. And for anyone listening, we are here for a purpose. And today Dr. Diamond gave you the history of some Black and brown women. Some of them we knew, some of them we didn't. But I just know we all have a roar. And it's just ironic that we're lions and lioness. But everybody has their inner roar. Don't let anyone shrink you. You love, and I always say, forgive them because they know not what they do. And as we are in the Lent season, and when Jesus cried that tear, he was that sacrificial flesh and as a believer. And now I know why I am here. Because to tell this story, Dr. Diamond's here for a person. We have Dean Geronimo, that team Piercy. I got a big brother and a big sister out there who have watered me when I had nothing. And now today, I just want to say thank you. And anyone listen to the playback, believe and become. I'm going to go out and see my baby brother, but everyone have a blessed day. And thank you for this time. And we
You're
are
welcome.
in 2026. The collaboration is moving. And hey, Mark, the producer,
Hey, pleasure to see you as always. You're looking
because I'm a type person. I'm a planner, and you, Mister, you are the reason why. Because he gets me panicky. But I said, okay, that's Mark. Mark on triple and quadruple. He worse than me. I thought I was bad, and I don't know how you do it. What's going on with Mark? Do he got calendars in his house all written out? How? I don't understand his brain because I can't see his creative space. But he makes me worry. But he always shows up, Toya. I'm like, I can't. But he's teaching me in this process of my life because I'm a doer. I can't do everything by myself because I probably tap out. But my point is, us here collectively, we are coming. We're here to love on you. And I'm going to be going out. But thank you, thank you, thank you. And everyone have a blessed day. And I'll see you soon. We on Friday.
You too, Toya. Toya, text me your information for the butterfly room so I can join you.
You coming next week?
Yes, I can come next week.
You coming next week? No, I know you busy. We every Friday at 8.
Yes. So next Friday you coming on? Let me check my calendar real quick. You said next Friday?
I'm adding you. All right, love you guys.
All right, have a good one.
Thank you.
Yes. So, Mark, I don't know if you had a chance to listen today, and Dean Geronimo, we had a wonderful discussion, and we're not done yet. We're almost there, but it was about the Black and brown women who have made an impact in our history, because it is Women's History Month, and I wanted to highlight some women that we don't ordinarily talk about on a day-to-day basis. So there were some women that we discussed in detail, and at least the fun facts. And of course, I am actually going to do a quick list also, and just a quick highlight as we go along before we get to the end of the show. But I appreciate you gentlemen joining on. But what do you think about Women's History Month, or us having a month? So I'm curious about your thoughts about that. Oh, he's on mute. Okay, go ahead, Dean.
Oh, no, I was going to let Mark go ahead. Mark, go ahead and start it off, my brother.
Well, he got us on mute, right? Mute right now.
He's talking to somebody. Okay, so
hi, Dean.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
When you talk about women's history, without women, a whole lot of stuff would not move.
Right.
They could try to minimize it. They could try to make it seem like it's insignificant. But if it were not for a Harriet Tubman, we probably would still be in somebody's field. If it were not for Sojourner Truth, Fannie Lou Hamer, Shirley Chisholm, and then when you come forward, women have always done the impossible and made it possible.
Right.
Men have taken credit for it, but it's because of what women do.
Yes.
Starting at the beginning of taking care of the babies,
right,
where our ladies started way back then feeding their babies, nursing their kids. They didn't nurse their babies. Our elders and ancestors did that, and raised them. And then began to raise their own families when we were able to have families and they not be snatched. The children were not snatched from mothers. Mothers have always taken care of the children to raise them up. Fathers have too, but a lot of fathers have dipped on their responsibilities.
right.
And mama was left holding the bag to keep the house over the head, to keep the food in the stomachs, to make the money to support all of this, working sometimes 2, 3, and other odd jobs just to make it happen. And they raised doctors, lawyers, entertainers, prominent individuals. If it wasn't for mama, none of it would be. I look at my mother. If it wasn't for her, stern as she was, but then I ended up inheriting her attitude. You know, those things that you teach growing up, how to be compassionate, how to be kind, and all of those things we learn from mama.
Yep.
My father taught me how to be a man. My mother taught me how to be a good human.
Yeah.
You know,
Good
so
question. Yeah.
that's all I got for right now. Mark, I'm passing it to you.
You can pass it on to me. I'm glad to talk about that. Women have played an important role in my life and everything like that. As I've talked about on this show before, one of my main mentors and a person that I have a great deal of respect for is my own mother, who ran a major philanthropic organization. She was the head of the first president of the Golden Leaf Foundation, which is some of that tobacco settlement money. Her and my dad created a radio station that partially got me into this whole media game and all along those lines. And she was a guidance counselor when I was a youngster, and she did a lot of other things in her life as well, including running for Secretary of State. Even though she may have lost to the eventual person that won, who is still in that office and everything like that. So she lost to her like several decades ago, like maybe 2 decades ago. I'm thinking about time frames and everything like that. But she's definitely a person that is very much a prominent person in my life. I think I've talked on this show before that I get a visit every week from my aunt, because my aunt knows that I am in the artistic field, and I know that Dean can relate to that and everything like that, and he knows some people in the artistic field. So sometimes we don't always do a good job of taking care of our own needs as we should and everything like that. So my aunt Julie comes by once a week, and she goes by one of these local churches and grabs some food so that her nephew, namely me, is not over there having all bad food and starving food. So she's over here stopping by one of these churches, grabbing some of that, the food that they provide, and dropping it off to my house. And she's been doing that now for several months. And I'm not I'm not too proud to say I am grateful for her doing that to me and everything along those lines, to make sure that I got me some good fruit, some good vegetables, and even some good meals, and all along those lines. So I know that every Friday around noon, I can expect to see Aunt Julie, and she's glad to do that for me and everything along those lines. So definitely, in these times when it's rough out there, it doesn't it doesn't hurt to have somebody that's got your back, even if it's your aunt or your mom or along those lines. And even mom has helped me with some of my bills and everything like that. So I know that I am very much, because yeah, we can sometimes even reach out to women that are part of our leadership command, because yeah, no matter who you are, you got a leadership command, whether it's your wife, whether it's your mother, whether it's whatever that is helping you get along and everything like that. And sometimes you got to reach out to them, and they will tell you, I don't mind helping you. I mean, we want you to help yourself, but at the same time, if you need the help, I do not mind giving that assistance and everything like that. And they learned that from their parents. And I think one of the people here was talking about visiting. I think it was Toya, when she was on here visiting her brother and everything like that. And I know for a fact that my mom and her sisters, they get together for sister time. As a matter of fact, they had that, I think it was either last week or the week before, and they get there and hang out together, chit chat about what their kids are doing, and just have a good old sister time together and everything like that. And they enjoy telling me about that. But they also will go visit their mother, my grandmother, and they might be visiting her grave or something along those lines. So having that connection to your ancestors, including those that have passed, is important as well. Because I know that, even as I talked about on this show before, my grandmother created the first African American library here in the Raleigh Durham area and everything like that. The one in Raleigh, and it's one of my mentors as far as I'm concerned, and everything along those lines. So I'm glad to say that Grandma Molly was definitely an important part of my lineage, and they just recently named some awards for her last year at that library, the Richard B. Harrison Library, that'll be going on to other people that are doing community work on a regular basis, as well as library work and everything like that. So it's good to see people that are honoring your ancestors, particularly those women, as well. And then, like I said, even though Grandma Mary may not have had that same kind of notoriety, she was known in the small town of Hollister. She was a cafeteria worker. And if you've been to any school, you know the cafeteria worker is like almost the center of conversation and everything like that. So they know a lot of what's going on. They know which kids are being bad. They know which kids are doing other things. Of course, they're helping provide nutrition to folks in that school. And even though it's a small rural town like this one that she was working at, and everything like that. And she was a community advocate and a community member that definitely liked to help people in her community, not just those that were in the school at the time of the school, but just being involved in Pine Chapel, the church that her and my grandfather went to, and everything like that. So I found a lot of people that are very much involved in that space. And even now, I'm seeing people that are in politics here in the local area that are women leaders that I've got a great deal of respect for, whether it's Angie Santiago, who comes from the Hispanic community, or whether it's Jillian Johnson, or whether it's Dee Driana Freeman, or a number of others that I could name, including Stella Adams and a number of others.
Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of On the Couch. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation and found it as enlightening and inspiring as I did. Remember, the stories and experiences we share here are just the beginning of a much larger journey. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, look for the notification on Facebook, and find us on your favorite podcast platform. Your support helps us keep the conversation going and reach more listeners just like you. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and keep the dialogue alive. Peace, love, and tranquility. Take care, and we'll see you on the couch.